So, hi everybody, welcome to issue one of Masks Arcane. I am running a series of different games using masks over a number of months on the Gauntlet, and this one takes place in a supernatural, magical setting in a city called Crescent City, which is sort of an amalgam between New Orleans and Paris. We're joined by all of our characters tonight. We are using, in terms of safety tools, this is a Gauntlet game. It is in adherence to the Gauntlet community care policy. We are using X cards, we are using lines and veils, and we're using script change. Okay. So I'm going to ask everyone to introduce themselves and their characters and their preferred pronouns, and then what we had. And say, unfortunately, Sabine was unwell last week and could not be with us. So we will make sure that we then introduce their character and set up the last couple of relationships we have got. I'm recovering from a bug, which may or may not be COVID-19. I have to put a stick up my nose later on. So my brain might not be quite as turned on as usual. Some people might say they won't notice. But let's go from the top in character keeper order. And look, I'm going to ask Rik, played by David, to introduce himself first.
My name's David. I use he/him pronouns, and I am playing Rik Soto, who also uses he/him pronouns, who goes by the hero name of Shadow, not the Shadow, just Shadow. Rik is a young Latino guy, looks quite clearly of Mexican or Central American descent. He's probably, as we discussed last time, he's probably about 18, give or take. Rik grew up in the care system, moving between various facilities, foster homes, and the like. Around hitting puberty, he started to have strange occurrences happen around him, weird spectral projections, odd, things moving in the night. General, like that weird haunting possession type stuff going on. The reason for this, as he is slowly beginning to become aware of at least parts of it, is that his father is, unbeknownst to him, a former villain haunting the streets of Crescent City. A man who has through various incarnations, being known as Obsidian, the Black Bishop, and Javier Dominguez de Avila, he was one of the original conquistadors, a priest, but he trafficked with dark powers and became a psychic vampire, is probably the best way to describe it. Obsidian was thought destroyed in about, coincidentally, 18 years ago. And mostly he was, though a small shard of his personality still remains inside his son, Rik. Rik has access to Obsidian's old memory palace, as I described it, and can draw on his on the powers his father had. he isn't still entirely. He himself doesn't know the full extent of his history yet. He knows that he is haunted by visions of a dark figure that will come forth and wreak a terrible vengeance upon the world, and is desperately trying to find a way of stopping that from taking place. I realize I haven't introduced it, but for those who are not familiar with masks, Rik is in the Doomed playbook. And I think that is him as we start out.
Cool. Just before we move along, so I was doing some thinking between sessions as well, David. I just want to establish, if it's okay with you, that there are 3 vampire courts in Crescent City: the Obsidian Court, the Emerald Court, and the Sapphire Court, and they're different types of vampires. So the psychic ones, obviously, that we mentioned, they're in there, are blood vampires and emotional vampires who all feed off different things. I think the Obsidian Court, without its Black Bishop, is in decline in the city, but it means that there are vampires aplenty.
Cool. Yep. No, I like that. That's that works for me.
Thank you very much. So welcome, Sabine, if you'd like to introduce us to Sai.
I can do that. My name is Sabine. I use any pronouns. I am going to play Sai Laroux, who call themselves Revenant, which is a word play, and maybe they found it funny, I don't know. But they use they/them pronouns. They use the transform playbook, and they're mostly dead. They're half ghost, I think. Kind of. I have chosen for the powers that they have is the impenetrable armor, but I more imagine that they're not really there most of the time. They're not really physically present, so it's kind of hard to hurt them with a blow because their body isn't really there. They haven't yet figured out how to walk through walls or stuff like that, but might yet. And the other one is that they have superhuman senses, which means that they can perceive dreams and ghosts. So yeah, that's
How long has Sai
look
been...
like a young black kid with... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, you finish. You finish.
They're a young black kid, or not that young, I guess, maybe 17 or something like that. Black kid, usually wears some sort of a hoodie. Their eyes. I created a picture. What the other thing besides being translucent is that their eyes are white and slightly glowing. They can look quite human if they're in shadows and stuff, but they become more translucent. Brighter lights are in the sunlight. They look very, you can look through them. So they avoid sunlight mostly, if it's possible at all.
How long has Sai been dead for?
If that's okay with everyone.
Yeah, I think that's cool. But say, if you can hear me, Sabine, how long has Sai been dead for?
A few weeks, I guess.
Oh. And does Sai know how they've come back? Or
no, they remember becoming awake, lying in the earth. There were other dead things there, and they remember hearing a tune of a violin or something, and they try to follow that, and they dug themselves basically out of the grave somebody had put them in.
So last time when the team came together, we established, and there's a picture of them in the NPCs tab, Mr Czin, who is a necromancer that the team may or may not have released. May have. Well, definitely did. But so are you comfortable with us connecting your background to Mr Czin?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. I saw that you were talking, but
can I suggest you may want to switch your video off for a bit, Sabine, see if that gives you a bit more.
Yeah, I tried that, but it didn't help then. doing it again.
Okay. What I was saying there is I don't know if it's is that any better.
Yeah, I can hear. It's just a bit sentence, and then you're back, and then it's okay.
So, as I said, Mr. Czin we identified was a necromancer
Mhm.
that the team faced when they came
Mhm.
together. Are you comfortable then being connected to your background, or have you got something else in mind?
I have no clear ideas at this point.
Awesome. So maybe he or the cult of necromancers that they represent seem like a sensible, at least thorn in your side. Excellent.
It's possible.
Bea, can we understand a little bit more about you, please?
Yeah. So I'm Leandro. You see him pronouns. I'm playing Bea Minerva. Uses she her pronouns. No superhero name. Well, actually, no. It's completely superhero name. No one's called that. IRL. She's using the Beacon playbook, which means she's the one who like is eager to be a hero. Doesn't really have many like superpowers. She's here because she wants to be. The way she does her superhero work is through a mixture of camouflage and stealth and some smattering of the mystic arts. Imagine like teen pre-cynical John Constantine, but a Filipina teenager who instead of smoking, she eats a lot of ice cream sandwiches. Um, um, and most of what she learned about magic is gleaned through a lot of like chasing down stuff on the internet, chasing down tomes, late night scribblings, practicing on herself. She's kind of all right at it so far. Um, but yeah, she's the kind of like, streetwise hero who has a favorite deli and knows some folk in town. And she's determined to like prove herself to her peers and anyone else who be in Crescent City. Hopefully she'll do well. Who knows?
I think if we identified, you had two moms, yes,
Yes, yeah.
and they had is it a cafe or a bookshop,
It was a bookshop, internet cafe, wasn't it?
Yes.
all of the
yes.
above.
Yeah, both. I think it started as a bookshop, and then it turned to a cafe, and then it turned to an internet cafe. But it kind of just has basically, if you buy X amount of coffee here or X amount of goods, then you get the Wi-Fi. It's
And
not
this,
usually that expensive, but like you can't just hang outside and just connect to the Wi-Fi. You have to come in.
so it seems like a good spot for people coming into the city trying to find the source of true magic. But did we name your parents? I don't know if we did.
No, we did
We
not.
haven't. And did we name the cafe?
We have not as well.
Well, we can establish them in a bit, but have a think about those because they probably feel like they're meaningful enough that we should name. Worth noting that Bea has got 4 current drives: kiss someone dangerous, outperform an adult hero, get drunk or high with a teammate, and punch someone you probably shouldn't.
All good life goals.
That's just what I call Tuesday. But look, let's also see if we possibly can lean into those as players as well, because that's the joy of playing the Beacon is they're telling us what they want to do. And finally, Ash.
Okay, Ash Rodriguez is a 16-year-old Latino kid. He has very bad facial scarring from burns that occurred about 6 months ago in an accident. He is the latest in a long line of heroes that claim that their legacy goes all the way back to the first flame that warmed men, and they have defended that flame ever since from the things in the dark that want shadows to take over the world. His father Apollo is the first of their line to go public as a superhero, and is like a veritable demigod and is adored by the media and by the public. Ash, unfortunately, was asked to accept the flame a little too early because the family had needs and it didn't go quite right, leaving him with those bad burns. And now he's quite insecure and desperate to prove his worth and that he has a part in this legacy and that he has a destiny.
Awesome. Great. So look, let's come back on Sai and let's set up and establish those background questions. As was the same with everyone else when we were doing yours. If you've got any questions for Sabine as these are being set or ideas, do shout them in. But Sai, for Revenant, who was Revenant before?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, they have no clear memory of who they were before. Some teenager, probably nothing special. They remember worrying about shoes and music and grades and stuff like that, but they're not very clear on who they were before.
Question for you as a player: do you want that mortal life to be a thread to draw upon, or is it something you're not interested in?
No, I'm interested in
Cool.
having that being a thing where he actually came from.
Cool. That's all right. I didn't want to impose fiction on you that you had no interest in exploring, but that's clear. So, you know, that background of who you are and what happened to you is something to discuss. When did you change? We've established that was a few weeks ago. Do you know what caused it and how you died?
No, I do not. I don't. I have this mark on my forehead. I think you can maybe see it. It could be a bullet wound, but I'm not sure. It's hard to see.
So it might be a bullet wound and something brought you back. Cool. Cool. Who outside of the team is helping you to sort of understand your new body?
Well, I've looked at the NPCs tab, and I've found this black dog person with a cafe.
Yeah.
Seems like a natural choice because he knows secrets and stuff, maybe about dreams, and maybe knows about the violin that called, but they're not very forthcoming with truth and that everything has a price. But they're in their own way. He's been more helpful in a gruff kind of way, and like, yeah, you're dead kind of way. That's how I imagine. I wasn't there. I did not listen to all the NPC creation.
Black Dog was introduced by me. It's sort of, but that's fine. Yeah, Black Dog.
That's the one I owe a favor, right?
Everybody owes Black Dog a favor, and now it seems that Revenant owes Black Dog a favor as well.
Oh, the webs you weave.
Maybe Black Dog will let you deal with your favor, Ash, if you let Revenant be on your little super team. Who knows? But yeah, that's fine. So the Black Dog and their little bar, part of that. So you're a transition ghost. No one has to see you. Why don't you just hide away? What makes you want to come out?
Well, I mean, somebody killed me. I'm not okay with that. I'm not. And there's things going on, and maybe more people. I kind of don't like that. Yeah.
So you're looking to sort of understand who did you harm. What do you think you might do if you find them?
Depends on who they are. I mean, if that was an accident, maybe nothing much. But if that was cold-blooded murder, I might be tempted to figure out some re-murdering. Like, I don't know. Don't think Sai has figured out what they want to do when they find this person, but they're angry. So maybe just haunt them a bit. Or something.
Okay. And why do you care about the team?
Well, because I'm not the weirdest thing they've ever seen, probably.
Legit. Cool. So the transforms when the team first comes together question is we drew attention and ire from plenty during the fight.
Sorry.
And rather than necessarily yeah, actually, but I sort of almost want to flash back into some of this a little bit this evening, to sort of set up some of the voices. But do you have an idea of who might hate and fear you yet?
When we first came together, we kind of fought this necromancer, right?
That's right.
This Mr. Czin.
Yes.
So maybe the one person who he hates and fears is somebody who's been on the receiving end of this necromancer's bad graces, some old enemy, who's now worried that we inadvertently, I guess, woke him up. Maybe the person who put him to sleep in the first place.
So let me have a think about that a second. We'll name them in fact the person that was mentioned, and I think perhaps you're having dreams importance of Sai is La Femme Pendule, and you have dreams of this black veiled woman who the necromancer fears, and who should worry you as well.
Okay. Yes, I have dreams of this La Femme Pendue, or I spaced out a bit here. But I have understood that I have dreams of black veils and this person.
Yes.
Cool.
It's a black veiled woman who turns tarot cards, and seems to sometimes when she's turning a card, you have visions of her, but she's looking directly at you.
Okay.
Okay, so what we need to do next is set up those remaining relationships. So I think we've got 2 to set up for Sai. Who else? We've got some relationships still to set.
I had one that I had intended to have with Sai,
yeah.
So I'll check over that one. But yeah.
So Sai, do you want to set your
I can do that.
first ones?
The first one is Blank comforted you when you might have been Rik, because he seems like what to know what it's to be down, I guess. Just feel like you don't matter at all.
Yeah, that sounds good.
What do you do to raise Sai's spirits, Rik?
I think probably well, I don't want to say just treating them like a real person, but I think that part of it is the fact that he was willing to listen to and speak with Sai about what had happened to them. I think he was fairly sanguine, I guess, about the whole situation, and I think actually this kind of ties in with the bond that I was going to take with the other way around, which was to say that I was planning to take the that I had that I told Sai about my doom and the danger that I'm in. So I think maybe that was a kind of, I think maybe they kind of had like a heart to heart sort of thing about that, and if that works with you.
Yeah, that works fine. I mean, I imagine that maybe since I can kind of hear or perceive dreams and ghosts and stuff like that, they might have noticed that something was weird with you.
Yeah, definitely. I think that works. His aura is a bit off or something.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. And the other relationship that I have is Blank knew you before you changed. I think that might have been Bea, because I imagine that Bea maybe kind of the person who enjoys knowing more than other people and not just telling them everything in one swoop, but just saying, hey, I know you, you're Sai Laroux, and that works for you, Leandro.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, no, I think like she's trying to play it cool. It's like, hey, you're Sai. You look a bit odd. Probably feel a bit odd, but you're still you, despite everything.
Okay. I mean, so I might not admit that they don't know who they were before they died, and maybe there is a bit of a misunderstanding going on.
So, do you? Let me get clear in my head. Do you know? And do you sort of do you look demonstrably different? I suppose, Sai, is the question from. Does the Revenant look very different?
I mean, sorry.
No, go.
They look basically. They're the same. They're recognizably the same person. They didn't have the white eyes before, and they weren't translucent. But the core facial structure, body type, that's not that different. Still recognizable.
So
person.
So in that case, Bea, do you recognize or do you know Sai, or were they more of a passing sort of acquaintance?
I think it was probably a bit more passing than Bea lets on, but she doesn't want to say it out loud because it's a kind of like it's gone on a bit too long. It's a bit embarrassing to admit otherwise, kind of thing. But she definitely remembers Sai. She's seen him around. She popped by the cafe once, which I found a name for it. It's called the Novel Hovel. Yeah, he likes music. I know that. Yeah, he's into that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an acquaintance, right? Someone you know, and you could tell them their name, but you don't know where they live. You don't know that much about them. I don't even know if their real name, because that's what's on their fake ID.
Possible,
that way we still got the mystery, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Look, reminder to everyone, paint as if we're in a comic book. You just want to say or describe things at any point, please feel free to do that. All of you gained with me probably enough to know that I like to make space for you to do all the work for me. So that's all cool with me. But look, we'll turn over the page to the first bit in the comic book in a moment. We've got one last thing to do, which is the influence, which is you for Psy, which is for Revenant. You try not to care what other people think, even if you can't shut everyone out. Give influence to one teammate who's got the influence on you.
I think it's Bea because she has known me before. Because we had that heart to heart. Yeah, I think it's Rik. Sorry, Bea. It's Rik because I mean I connected with. I can't write on this thing. I'm sorry. It's Rik.
Cool. Lovely. Has anyone got any more establishing questions, background things you want to work out or be clear about, or we'll start shortly? Are we all good? Grant, I'd just like probably 10 minutes just to collect my head on bringing everything together, if that's okay. So we'll take a break a little bit early today and come back at 25 past the hour, and then we'll go into our first scenes in our comic.
Okay.
See you in 10 minutes.
See you.
Okay.
Let me resume recording. So we'll pick up in a hot scene, I think, which is in the catacombs beneath Crescent City, where you have traced down Mr. Czin, or Mr. Czin has traced down you. Let's figure out which of those at the moment. But it is a Phantom of the Opera-like lair beneath the cities with chandeliers, necromantic paraphernalia, and the team are in full readiness to fight. As Mr. Czin declares, Mr. Czin declares, the ghost boy is mine. I will place them in a jar and live on their fire. How do you react to that, Revenant? Because it was clearly you that they were pointing at. They'd like to pop you in a jar.
Oh, I don't want to be in a jar. I will attempt to not be in a jar. I think, what would I do? I think I would like to, I would like to open up my masks stuff so I can know what the moves are called, because that might be useful, right? What I want to do actually, I would like to use the move where I can get information.
So you're looking to assess the situation,
yes.
or pierce the mask?
No, pierce the mask. Pierce the
mask
mask, because I have supernatural senses and I can see ghosts and dreams and stuff, and I would like to use that on this funny little person.
Before we get into that role of the move, we will go through a few things. This is the start of session, right? So I need to put one in your team already. But you are entering battle against a dangerous foe as a team. So that puts the team up to 3 currently. Whom believes they are leader of the team at this point?
I always believe I'm the leader of the team.
Does anyone else believe they're the leader of the team?
I mean, Ash could believe that.
Absolutely.
So Ash, what's your purpose in the fight?
Why we're here is a bit hazy, so let's just say protecting Psy.
Cool. And I'm going to ask that same question then. It'll be in reverse order against the keeper. So, Bea, why are you here? What do you want to do in this fight?
I'm more interested in beating up Mr. Czin.
So you're here for the glory. Psy, what's your Revenant? What's your aim?
I think if we're here, I would like to know what he wants with me. Okay, we found that out now, and now my secondary goal is not to be in jar.
Cool. And Rik.
Yeah, I think protecting Sai is probably just about edging out beating up Mr. Czin. It's close, could go either way.
I think beating Mr. Czin is close enough to the objective that it's not so different, right? I'm going to say you're just about on the same page, because protecting Sai may well mean fighting Mr. Czin or escaping them. Does any member of the team mistrust Prometheus?
How could you? He's cool.
You're allowed to just say yes.
I don't know if Rik trusts him, but I also don't think that he mistrusts him. So
that's clear enough, right? And is the team ill prepared or off balance? I'm going to say no, and I'm going to suggest that what you've done is say Mr. Czin was trying to get their hands on Revenant. That's been clear for a few days, and you've sprung a trap on them. So that will allow me to add in an additional 3 into your team. So your team currently sits at 6. The team is in the safety and support tool. Okay, I'll give you till the end of session. First is in proper session 2 up to next time to name yourselves. Otherwise, I reserve the right to name you myself. Or at least the press will, because your exploits will start getting out. Okay. So let's go back to, at that point, back to Revenant, who wanted to pierce the mass, which you're going to do with a mundane.
Yes. Do we have a dice roller? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's in the safety and support.
Safety and support. I can't find that. Hello. Where you are? Where are you?
Party. I'll pop it into the. It's partially assured cardinal, which felt like someone's already put it in there. Thank you, Leandro. Leandro's throwing that into the chat window.
You. Okay. So I'm going to roll for 2d6 for Sai. That's short. Orange isn't very ghosty. It's white ones.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. That's an 8. I'm not very mundane.
Cool. But still on an 8, that allows you to ask one question.
That's nice.
Just for questions, the way I tend to unmask, you can take these suggestions. If there's something you really want to ask that's not covered by the list, don't rack your brain trying to ask the question. But if you're going too far off it, I'll let you know. But we use these as a guideline. You can ask intelligent questions.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I want is, I guess it's kind of. He said what he wants me to do, but why is the question. What does he what does he really want?
So
does he really want to put me in a bottle just for funsies, or?
You can see around the room there are other similar spirit jars with ghosts like you inside. They want to turn you into a battery.
Oh, okay. I will then tell Mr. Czin in no unclear terms that I will not be turned into one of these batteries for him, and that if I can, I will smash them and let the ghosts out.
Okay, so that will be your next action. Let's cut through the characters one by one and give them because this is the first time we've seen them in action. Bea, how are you looking? Awesome and cool, and what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, they kind of got to this place quicker than she expected, so she's just barely finishing her ice cream sandwich. I think that when Mr. Czin makes a proclamation, and and sighs, like Revenant's like standing up, probably in the in the background of the panel, you can see Bea's wiping her mouth on her sleeve, and Revenant makes it. Does Revenant declare out loud that he's gonna break the jars?
Oh, yes, definitely, because he actually hopes that one of you picks up on that and starts breaking the jars. Because, I mean, we have this amazing sun guy, and he's probably better at smashing jars anyway.
Yeah, I kind of want one of those jars. Uh, yeah, I think. Well, if you're piercing the mask, I think Bea's gonna like assess the situation. Just to like watch out what's happening. I think like as she's like wiping her mouth and is just looking around, seeing what the tableau is. So I'm gonna roll superior.
Running with superior, and everyone knows that my ice cream helps with your concentration. So
Absolutely. How could it not? See, look at that. That's an 11.
whoa.
Like
Eat more ice cream. That's the way forward.
exactly.
So on our 11, or the assess the situation, you get to ask 2 questions.
Hell yeah. Yeah. How could we best end this quickly? I always like that.
You're pretty sure that smashing. Obviously, they want. They've already got effectively 4 of these spirit batteries. If you had to guess, the 5th one would allow them to cap a pentagram and do something really bad. So you're pretty sure that you could end this quickly by smashing the other jars and releasing whatever's inside them.
Okay. Ooh, I want that 5th one now. Let's see. What here can I use to keep Mr. Czin's attention off the jars? Besides probably Revenant.
You're pretty sure. I'm going to look at your powers and not nearly enough training. If you were to, you read a book on how these spirit batteries work, right? If you grab one and start throwing magical bolts with them, then it's going to go down big time. That will definitely do it.
Yeah, I just have to get to that empty one, or at least one of them. It'll be fine. I think when she kind of like figures this, just to like get. Actually, no. I'll let you move on because I just made a roll a move.
Cool. Yeah, I'll shift the spotlight to Rik Soto for the first time in our panel. Rik, what does Rik look like, and what are they planning?
Yeah, so Rik is wearing just like normal, slightly battered dark jeans and some, probably some like Converse, sneakers. Though he's wearing like quite a nice but sort of linen shirt that's got some like needlessly frilly bits on it, and some it's quite loose and flowy. It also looks like it's a bit too big for him, but he's kind of got that on as well. And his like face is just like hidden in shadow, and like the shadows around him are all like sort of mentioned last time, that kind of like German expressionist film, like big shadows up the wall and everything. And I think the others are sort of starting to move into action, he like makes a big gesture with his hands, and a flock of ravens is going to fly out of the shadows around him, and just like start spinning around Mr. Czin in an attempt to distract and confuse him.
So As you reshape, well, it could be done in two ways. Would you feel you're closer to unleashing your powers, where you reshape the environment, or were you aiming to directly engage a threat?
I think at the moment it's probably more an unleash powers. I don't think I'm actually actively attempting to do harm at the moment.
Okay, so when we unleash your powers, we're with freak, unless you have a move on your playbook which changes that.
I do not. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, that is a 12.
Dun, dun. Grand. Okay. Remind me what your what pushes you up on your doom, please.
It is
Shadow?
causing harm to innocents or telling people about my
Sure.
doom.
Cool. Well, on a 12, it does exactly what you wanted to. So why don't you paint the scene of what we see as these ravens do their business?
Yeah, so I think they kind of start flapping and spinning around him, and he's like tearing at them. But again, they're not like entirely there, so it doesn't really achieve much. He's still got this kind of like distracting swarm flying around him. You know, he probably does the kind of the Skeletor cry of you know, annoyance, and yeah, and I think, like I say, it kind of distracts him to enable my my teammates to leap into action,
Which allows the next panel of the comic to move to Prometheus.
Okay.
Describe what you're doing, Prometheus, and how we see you in the comic for the first time.
Prometheus is already attired in his armor. It's asymmetrical and the color of charcoal and ash. Amidst the sort of flowing, almost flame patterns that are within the metal, you can see still red and white shards of something that still burns, and you can see fire in between the plates, as if he is actually on fire inside the armor. And in his hand is this great big long sword that's got really more in common with a large poker that's been left in a fire. It's long, twisted metal, doesn't look sharp, but it does have a point at the end. And it burns with a radiant fire and light. And is Sai under any immediate threat?
They're currently in Mr. Czin's attention, but not. Are you using this to try and trigger a move?
As just to see whether defending someone is appropriate or whether I should do something else.
With the actions of the rest of your team, Czin is set up, so you don't need to defend immediately. No.
Okay. I guess in that case, I'll just go for your good old-fashioned directly engage a threat.
So
as a lunge in with the sword. I'm still going to go wrong because Ash is not made for violence.
It's rolling with danger, which is a -1 to roll.
Yep, so submit. However, that looks to be a 7 once I had the -1.
Dun, dun, dun. Just enough, so you get to pick one from the directly engage a threat list.
Is he in possession of something at this time?
The empty jar that he's trying to put Revenant in.
Yeah, in that case, I'm taking that from him. Prometheus will dash forward, bringing the blade down a wide arc. And yeah, let's say it actually connects with the arm of Mr. Czin. Doesn't do an incredible amount of damage, to be honest, because he's a necromancer, and his body is probably built to take a beating. However, it causes him enough pain and distraction that as Prometheus follows through with the movement, he can grab the flask and take a step out and brandish it.
As you do that, Zin looks at you and says, "I bet you think you are clever." And he fixes you with a necrotic stare as the other batteries in the room glow. And I'd like you to take a powerful blow, please.
Oh, I'm really good at that.
Yeah, because you've got a special move.
Yeah, I'll never give up and never surrender. So let's throw some savior at this. Dice come up. Oh, geez. Dice say 4. Savior makes 6. So I'll need someone to help if we're going to succeed on this.
Someone from the team want to help? And if so, how?
I think maybe as these like beams of like gribbly necrotic energy start coming from the jars, I think maybe the swarm of ravens like scatters and they just start like interposing themselves between the magical rays as they come out.
So yeah, I will, and on that, I will rally from the hit. So Prometheus will probably stagger a little back, then actually do like a little shoulder roll with a clunk and a chunk and come up beside the rest of his team and add a team to the pool.
Cool. Zeroing one back in, so it's back up to 6. So for everyone listening, that was the Never Give Up, Never Surrender move on a 7 to 9. You put one back in the pool, bang. Okay, so as that happens, he goes, "Curse your line, Prometheus. Why is it over centuries your painfully annoying family must get in my way? The ghosts belong to me. That is the pact in the city.
And once you're long gone, we'll still be here guiding man."
So you've got the jar in your hand. You've got an aggrieved Mr. Czin. What does Revenant do next?
I think I will go for the jars. I'm not the one that Prometheus has, but the other ones. And I will go over there and then I will try to call the ghosts out because I can hear or sense them, and I will just attempt to get them out of there.
So I would suggest that is an unleash of your powers.
I would hope to think so, yes. Let's unleash here. Okay, I've rolled a 6, so that's a 9. And if I can take it, we have a large pool right now. If anybody
seems pretty good if someone wants to help.
Yeah.
Exactly. So do you want to describe what's happening, and then?
Yeah, I'm going up for the jars, and I am kind of calling on them, and I'm saying, "Hey, this old dude is ratcheting up really lame insults. Do you really want to serve him? Come out and play with me. I'm way cooler."
Is anyone gonna help?
I would love to help. I'm just trying to figure out the most appropriate way, whether it's opening jars or breaking jars.
I mean, you could just go and smash one of them with your sword.
Yeah. I think maybe I'll try and clip the top of one of the jars.
Yeah, that starts a cascade. I can use that.
Just like the way you'd cut the top of a wine bottle if you're in a Musketeers film.
Yeah, like that.
Well, that pulls up to a 7, but that is either you need to mark a condition. I'm going to tell you the effect is unstable.
It's a 10.
Temporary.
It's a 10.
Sorry, no, of course.
I was going for the 10.
Yes, you did.
So, yeah. So, on hit, I do it. Yeah. Okay.
So describe what we see.
I think when I call for them, you can see the ghosts start roiling in these spirit jars, like they've noticed, they've heard me, and then the spec can blow, kind of decapitates. Probably the wrong word. One of the jars, and the first ghost comes out with a hoop, like "Ooh, I'm free!" and yelling at the others, "Look, if this one can do it, you can do it too!" And then they just burst out of their jars and are milling about, I guess, right now. That's what I intended. But that also means that the spirit battery that Mr. Czin was using is pretty much not doing its stuff for him.
Mr. Czin growls in terror, rage, and says, "Do you think this will stop me? Obsidian will rise."
Where do you get your lines from, dude?
I'm a horror film. Obsidian will rise. And he claps his fingers together and says, "We will meet again." And then there is sort of a puff of black shadow and hiss and smell of brimstone as well. And then the Lich Lord sort of wisps away into the darkness, unless anyone is trying to do something.
I think Bea will like go up to Breeze and like, can I borrow that battery thing?
Toss it to you.
Yeah. And I think like she's looking at it because it's a solar jar battery thing. It's meant to amplify stuff. So I think she digs into her coat and pulls out a half crumpled piece of paper. There's a lot of like calculations on it, but on the end written in big letters, POW. And it's just like, okay, well, you made your big speech, Mr. Czin, sir, but we've got a lot of questions, so if you want to just stick around. And she puts the spell in the jar, and hopefully the magical reaction will like just make it shoot energy at him, supercharge the spell, so you'll knock him out.
Are you using no powers not enough, not nearly enough training?
Yes,
I hope so.
Nowhere near enough training.
So this is a special move of the Beacon Book where you roll with mundane.
Yes, and I'm directly engaging threat for sure. So I can knock them down. Okay. Ooh, that's an 8. You're still good.
So you get to choose one from the directly engaged or threat list.
Ooh. I kind of want some repercussions for just fiddling with this willy-nilly, so I think I'm going to I want to create an opportunity for my allies as like Bea like just puts this crumpled spell and just kind of points the jar in Mr. Czin's direction.
So I think it sort of disrupts their spell, and they're sort of taking longer to fade out than they expect. And you sort of clench his teeth, gnash as you see the skull, and it says, "I hate you to my bones."
Cool, I've got a fan.
But you have an opportunity. Rik, you haven't acted for a while. What does Rik do?
Yes, so I think that Rik is going to leap towards Czin, kind of trailing like dramatic shadow coming up behind him as he does, and I think he like grabs onto Zin's wrist with one hand, and gestures back actually towards the open soul jar. Because though he has hidden it well, Rik does have the ability to drain people's vitality, and I think he's going to try and zap Zin's spiritual essence into that jar.
So I'm going to ask you to unleash your powers to try and achieve that.
Sure thing. That's an 11.
Wow.
I hate this dice room. But bang. All right. So I think there is a screech of horror, and the bones sort of clatter forward and compress down, and the jar slams shut, and you can see the remains or the bones of Mr. Czin in the jar somehow fitting, compressing, and its mouth cursing bad language at all of you.
You didn't tell me you can shrink people.
Hey, look, I was improvising. You know, it's I don't know exactly how the things I do work.
Oh, well, I was going to ask if you can tell me how you did that, because, and she shakes the jar. That worked really well.
That was amazing. Good work.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean that, everybody.
Thank you. I want to talk to these ghost guys for a minute.
Yeah, they all have that sort of white bullet hole, same as you have, just
Okay.
there, Si. But they look scared, much like you. They're just teenage kids, struck down in the prime of their life, and look scared. I think most of them have not come to the realization yet that they have died, and there are freaking out ghosts.
Oh. Hey guys, you're dead. I'm dead. So not that bad, I guess.
I think one of them sort of raises their hands and looks through them and goes, "But I'm only 17. I can't be dead."
It's not mutually exclusive, friend.
How? I don't even know what happened. I was just like on my bike.
I can't tell you what happened. I don't know either. At least you weren't buried, I guess.
Like, what am I supposed to do now? What are the rest of us supposed to do? And they're all sort of looking to you as this sort of view that you might be in charge.
I'm trying to help. I'm looking at Prometheus like, what?
Prometheus just looks back at you, the helmet slightly blank, as if to say, "They're dead. You're dead."
So
Like,
they're
not from me to presume.
Okay. I guess I have absolutely no idea what to do now. Okay, guys, girls, non-binary pals. I'm Sai, and do you remember who you are? Do you hear the violin?
It feels so. I think you get the story they tell. All of them is very similar to the ones that you had. They don't quite remember. They remember bits of it. They remember their lives. I can't remember their names. And then there was a violin just before.
Okay. Look, I think I'm taking them to the what is the name of the bar of the Black Dog? Here's a bar.
if we have named it yet, actually.
We have. I don't think we have.
La Champ Noir, because he is. I mean, that's the obvious one. But
No one would expect the black dog to be inside the black cat.
oh, right, La Champ Noir. Uh-huh. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I will take them to that. Maybe Mr. Dark knows how to deal with these guys. I mean, he helped me. He might help you.
What about Zin?
Yeah, I'm not bringing. I want this battery. I'm not bringing him along.
No, but
I might have somewhere I can stash him a little while.
Oh, cool.
I don't know. You're sort of a witch, Bea, or is that offensive as a term?
I know actual witches. I guess I'm more of a. There's debate, I guess, on the term. I'm a dabbler at the moment. I guess maybe I like to call myself a witch sometime, but who knows? But Shadow, you said you have a place you can stick this guy in.
I think so. There's a place I know has kind of a whole lot of dungeons.
Rik, if you want it destroyed, I could try speaking to my family.
Instead of destroying him, couldn't we just, conjure him in a circle or something? I remember it's sort of a horror movie, and then question him. I don't know anything about this stuff really.
I'm unsure about leaving it active. He's tangled up in stuff with your dad, Rik, right? While he's out, there's a chance. Well, you know, right?
Well, if you say you have a place full of dungeons, I kind of want to. That sounds really cool. I don't know where you got these dungeons.
Is kind of more like a pocket dimension kind of place, I guess. I don't know the exact metaphysical details of it, but I can try taking you along. I've not tried to take anyone there before. It's not exactly the. We'll talk later, but
If we're welcome.
I think Bea had the idea that it was only because her coming along, and then Ash spoke up like, "No, okay."
Just totally inviting myself.
I mean, yeah, if we can figure it out, yeah, I guess we'll just hang on to. Unless you want to take him now. I don't have dungeons in my place. I've got a lot of coffee, but not really a dungeon.
sure.
Okay.
I guess, Saj, you want to deal with our friends there, and we'll get rid of Mr. Czin, or
yeah. I mean, I would love to see. Well, that would come out wrong if I said I would love to see your dungeons, but I mean, I'm not in that way, obviously. But I guess I have to take these guys to somewhere where they can figure out things. So I'm going to Le Chat Noir and see maybe one of them remembers something.
So you're splitting 3 to 1?
Best that Sai maybe has a buddy as well. Is there? Did you say this place looked like an actual lair, Dave?
Yes.
I think maybe sort of grab bundles of stuff that look potentially readable or important. So loot.
Yeah, there are tomes, there are vellum scrolls on which you don't want to think about what the vellum was from, but this is a lair of a necromancer.
Can I
Great.
take a spare soul jar? If there's one about.
Well, they're
Some empty ones.
Yeah, they are empty. I think they're probably shattered. But look, let's say there is one that hasn't been used here.
Oh yeah. Gonna note that down. Yeah, it makes sense that like if Ash comes with size and he's had dealings with Black Dog before.
Say that again. Sorry, who's had dealings with Black
Yeah, my
Dog before?
internet was starting to freak out. Prometheus.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you guys want to go to a cool dungeon drop, Ash and Sai can go to the bar and we can all hang out afterwards. And is everybody okay with me torching this place on the way out?
No, says Mr. Czin. I am not okay with you torching this place on the way out.
Wait, we can talk to him while he's in the jar? That's amazing.
That's annoying.
Oh, yeah, that too. We should figure out if somebody's living in this building before we torch it, maybe?
It's the sewers, right? Was it?
Yeah,
So it's not,
yeah. City.
It's
Bernard,
okay.
It's an older church in the city.
It's okay. It'll be very self-contained.
Okay.
Look, you want to do it safely. I'm going to ask you to unleash your powers.
Yeah. If everyone's cool with that, as the scene rolls over, Ash will plant the sword in the ground and attempt to unleash his powers. That is an 8. My freak is 0, so straight 8. Feel free to give me a condition.
So, if you're asking,
may I take insecure? Reason being that I think as he starts the infernal, which will burn all the objects in the room, there's a momentary flashback to when he underwent his transformation.
I think I'm down with that.
Yeah, and I'll just effectively a sweeping pillar of flame will start to encompass him and slowly grow to fill the room, and will just atomize the objects before retreating into him, and then the armor will turn to ash and fall off him like it was never there.
Oh, neat. Sai will test if he can stand in the fire without getting harmed.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, he will test it carefully enough, I guess, but I mean, he's not really, doesn't really have a body, so. But I guess this is natural fire, so maybe he feels the heat and will prudently
it's definitely that of the burning magic. It's definitely not natural, so I think you do feel the flames here.
I dig that.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So let's turn the page in the book, and we're at the bus station in town. A young man in torn jeans and a leather jacket and sort of a longish rucksack gets off the bus. They whisper, or something is whispering to them in the bag, and they look back and says, "Look, I'm sure they're able to help us. This is why we're here, right?" And then they look at a picture in an old magazine, and what we've seen would be a picture of your father back in the would he be active in the 90s, 80s? Ash, what do they look like? And remind us of their
Father
code name.
was, I guess, actually was 16, which means his dad's probably in his mid-30s, which means he's probably been active for about 18 years. So since around the millennium.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's 80s and 90s, it's probably grandfather.
Then it's dead.
In his prime.
And remind us what his code name was.
It has been changed. Grandfather is Huitzilopochtli. And there's like a picture of him in the NPC section in his sort of Silver Age gear. All gold, big sun motif.
Thank you very much for the names that I'll have to put down the phonetic pronunciation for. Curse you. But we'll draw that page and flip over. And the flip as if someone is, as we see the next scene, as if someone has put down a tarot card, but it is the Le Chat Noir, the Black Cat, and we see Ash and Sai outside. What does the bouncer on the club look like, Revenant?
Ooh, I imagine. Did you see the Mandalorian? There's this rebel soldier woman, Gina. I don't.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The commando.
Like that same energy, kind of like a wrestling woman who doesn't take much shit for anything, but she's kind of cool. If she likes you, it's okay, but if she doesn't, it's not so much.
I think, do people see you and the ghost side most of the time? Or do
They
people
see me. They see me. I'm not really that, and I'm not invisible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely non-corporeal. I don't know how it's with the other ghosts. They have been in the jars for a while.
I think they're more incorporeal, but she's got a pair of sort of smoked blue sunglasses on, and she sort of looks down and looks up at you and says, "You've got an entourage, Revenant."
Yeah, they kind of followed me here. I let them out of their jars, and now I don't know what to do with them, actually.
And are you you going to vouch for them in there?
I don't even know them. I mean, yeah, sure.
As you step on by, she puts her hand out and stops you, Prometheus, and looks you up and down.
Ash looks up. Like, no, Ash is in his normal civvies. He's got like baggy jeans on, a hoodie that's a little bit too large for him with his hood pulled up, just to try and hide as much of his scarred face as possible. And it's the entire, his left, your right, is very badly scarred from burns.
She looks you up and down.
I'll behave.
Good. We have mixed clientele in here, Prometheus, and the last thing I want is your super daddy coming down and causing trouble.
That's the last thing I want to. Just hoping we get these kids some help.
How noble. She opens the door. It's when she opens the door. So I think she makes a mystical gesture with her hand, and the door clicks, and it opens for you. And inside we can hear jazz, trumpet, and piano playing drifting out through the door.
Hey, Si, whatever happened that common decency is seen as noble now?
You're asking the wrong person. I have no idea.
The times we live in.
Man, how old are you?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm 16. How old are you?
I have no idea, but you sound really old-fashioned.
Yeah, I was raised properly, as the family put it.
Okay. And I'm behind your back. I'm kind of making a face. Like, but not to your face. No.
Yeah. I'm going and order a Diet Coke with ice and a wedge of lime.
Living the high life.
Yep.
Cool. As you do that, let's turn the page to the other two. Where did you head towards, Rik?
So yeah, I think Rik is going to head back to the street, and he's going to find an alleyway, and walk down to the end of the alleyway, where, like, for a moment, like the end of the alleyway is just in shadow, and then he kind of reaches out, and there's a big, like, iron-bound wooden door with a big iron handle on it. And he kind of shrugs and says, I don't know why, but it always seems to be in alleyways.
Well,
And
would
he'll
you prefer it to be out in boulevards?
I mean, it's convenient. I as I say, I don't know exactly how it works, but do come inside. And he's going to open the door, and I think actually he'll stand outside and gesture for you to go through, and then step inside and close the door behind him. And I think as they get inside, it's like if someone had given Fritz Lang an infinite budget to build a big, creepy Gothic cathedral, or Gothic monastery type building. This would be the place. Like the room they come into is got like the big high vaulted ceilings and like long dramatic shadows everywhere. But I think there are a couple of like very minor, like homely, like a couple of like band posters like stuck to walls and stuff like that. I think he'll, as they sort of come in, there's like a little table sort of just inside the door. He says, do you want something to drink? It's pretty much always wine in here. As he sort of pours two like big goblets with wine.
Yeah, Bea's looking at this, eyes, agog. Well, you can't see it, but because she's wearing her sunglasses. But clearly, like she's barely holding on to the soul jar. And I think she just kind of like puts it down on the table. It's like, oh my God, you have all this, and you have wine. What? How?
Zin from inside the jar proclaims, "I would like a brandy."
I flick the jar.
I'm sure we can figure something out once we get you situated, Mr. Czin. Now, if I remember correctly, if we head this way, we should get to the dungeons eventually. Like, before we get down, it's hella creepy down there.
I mean, I'm fine with hella creepy. I can do hella creepy. We just she grabs the soul jar again and also grabs the wine. I knew you were cool and all. I just didn't expect you to have all this. You're set up. Like, you're set up to do all this stuff.
It's it's certainly been a help to me in my time. I always had somewhere warm to bed down for the night, if nothing else. But yeah, we should get him stowed away. And yeah, there'll be lots of like, slightly weird, geography that doesn't quite match up and all that sort of thing as they get down to the dungeons, which are creepy and shadowy, and there's lots of big cells and lots of like particularly over the top torture equipment and the like down there.
I see that, and it's just like, this came with the place, I assume, right?
That's right. I don't know quite who had this whole thing before me, but they certainly had some strange tastes going on. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, how did you find this place? This seems, I mean, this is so much. I mean, I've been looking for a place like this in Crescent City. All I found is, some burnt out clown stores. There was a clown store chain in this city. If you believe that? But
I remember them. Pierrot's or Us. That was the one, right?
Yeah, and every fifth clown from that place was named Pagliacci. It was kind of ridiculous. But yeah, that's all I could find. And I like to think I'm not slouch at this. How did you?
Zin hisses, "Don't say the jester's name."
I flick the jar again. How did you find this place? This is a lot.
I was just outside one evening. The rain was coming down like you wouldn't believe, and then I just came to the end of an alleyway looking for somewhere dry to lay down, and well, I found that door that we just came through.
God, well, that's. I think you can't see, but I think we probably in this comic book, we get a shot of like Bear's eyes. We get a panel, as you're kind of saying that they look skeptical, but she's just like, well, I guess like some people just get lucky. I fall asleep in a lot of places and I never find something as cool as this. I guess that's how I found the clown shop. But I mean, what else is? You said dungeons. What else? What else is here?
There's libraries, big library, all sorts of stuff in there. If you want to check any of it out, then you're more than welcome. But yeah, and I think he's going to kind of pull back the big bar across one of the doors and open it up and say, I mean, I hope this will keep him locked up anyway. It's
I'm more worried that we might forget about him, honestly. This is a big place. I think I'll put down the soul jar inside the.
So, don't you forget about me. Sort of presses against this little sort of crunched up skeleton figure, the fingers moving inside, and say, "You will regret this day, Shadow."
I'm sure you'll make me try Mr. Czin. We'll have to see how that goes. But anyway, let's. And I think, he'll kind of jerk the lid off of the soul jar and then slam the door shut, sort of thing.
So you're trying to contain the Mr. Czin here?
That's right. I have the containment field, containment whatever feature of in my lair. So hopefully that will do the job.
So you call upon the resources of your sanctuary to solve a problem, say what you want to do, and I will give you 1 to 4 conditions to fulfill or complete your solution. I think on this point, unbeknownst to you, the best that you can do is a lesser version, unreliable, unlimited. But you have slammed the door shut on him, and you can hear it screech as if it's going further and further down into the darkness.
Excellent. Yeah, that sounds good.
And as we see that blackness of the door slamming, we flick back to the black cat. With the black dog is on a grand piano, their cravat slightly ruffled, and they are singing a song that has not been heard since the 1930s. It's spellbinding when the black dog sings. Everyone pays attention, including yourselves. But when he stops, there's sort of a gentle round of applause, and he stands up and heads towards the bar where a straight rye whiskey is poured. He raises an eyebrow as he sees you and your merry menagerie. Sai and Ash, who approaches them, and what are you doing?
I guess.
Okay.
Shall we get up and just approach together?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. I'll walk over. I'm going to offer my glass towards him in a toast.
He looks at your glass and smiles and taps the glass to you and say, "You're bringing miners into my bar, invisible ghosts at that."
I apologize. I didn't know where to take them. I just found them, and they were floating around, and I thought you might help me, and you're the one person I know who would. I know you're not a social worker or anything, but I didn't know what to do with them.
You brought them to me rather than to an honest to goodness, genuine superhero. Says a lot about your family, eh, Mr. Does he know your real name, or does he refer to you as Prometheus?
Yeah, let's just say he refers to me as Prometheus.
Prometheus, right? But he is he's putting smack on your legacy, so he's telling you who you are.
So what did he actually say?
It said that you would have brought him here rather than to a genuine superhero. It says a lot.
Oh, okay. I would
I'm intending to put your superior down and your freak up.
I would quite like to try and reject his influence, as Ash has a very close place in his heart for his legacy, and he adores it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't like to hear those kind of things. I just rolled a straight up 7. I cannot remember how.
It's a flat roll.
It's a
flat roll, so yeah.
That's a hit.
On a 7 to 9, clear addition, mark potential, shift labels, or cancel influence.
I'm going to sort of put my glass down, lean in, and go, yeah, well, we just took Mr. Czin off the street, and we thought 4 less hauntings might be a useful thing, and the superhero work's already been done. And we thought you might be willing to help us.
And what are you taking?
I was going to remove my condition.
That makes sense. He smiles and he has a cigarette on one of those holders and pops it into his mouth and takes a big puff. And what would you
then
like me to do?
Ash will start coughing a bit and back off. Doesn't like the smoke.
I mean, I don't know what to do with them. They followed me kind of here, but I'm not the. Maybe I'm the ghost whisperer now. Oh gosh.
I'm afraid I think that super name has already been taken, Revenant. But still,
I'm rather happy. There's a ghost whisperer. Maybe they could take care of them.
they aren't around anymore. But I've always got a need for people like these. I can keep them safe. They'll just need to owe me a few favors, run a few errands. He sort of looks back and forth and grabs one of them gently by the cheek, and then looks at it and looks at you. How strange that they have the same. It seems that they have met the same end as you.
Yeah, there was this necromancer who had them. Maybe I don't know if he killed all of us or if he just followed whatever killed us around and gathered up the remains.
Zin is much more carrion than killer. So I would suggest that whatever has put these poor creatures to the end of their mortal lives has also was the one who dealt with you. How strange indeed.
Maybe it's a serial killer or something like that.
But if you're asking me to look out for these waifs and strays, I can do so. But no one gets to stay here for free. But I've always wanted a gang of rapscallion youths to work for me.
I figured you might find a use for these, I guess.
Work for is a bit ambitious. However, we always pay our debts.
Good. He smiles and says, then we have an agreement. And he picks up his glass, which has been refilled, and walks over to the ghosts on the other table, who by this point are making peanuts levitate.
Why can they do that? I can't do that.
Have you tried doing that?
To levitate peanuts? No, I have not.
Well, how do you know if you can do it or not?
I can throw a peanut.
Well, that's like levitating, briefly.
Right. I'm taking a peanut and I'm throwing it at you. Sorry. I don't know why I did that.
I don't know either. Shall we go now?
Yeah, sorry.
Do you eat still?
No.
Oh. Okay. Do you mind if others eat around you?
No. I mean,
cool.
I can pretend to eat or drink, but I can't actually. It doesn't taste like anything. And
It's
I don't eat.
accommodating.
No. I kind of miss it. I think. I have no idea what I would like when I'd like eating.
Shall we end?
I think so.
Yeah.
You can see. And we see the strange or the young lad who got off the bus is now standing outside a bookshop / cyber cafe / tarot reading place. Bea, have we got a name for the place yet?
Oh yes, it's called the Novel Hovel. yeah, it is quite trendy and cool.
The door. He stands in front of the door and says, "Well, is this the place?" And there's again the whisper from the bag, and it says, "I suppose as good a place to start as any." And he pushes open the door. In the comic book, as we see this big half-page panel, the shadow that extends for him looks like a knight in armor. As the doorbell rings, and inside we see one of your mothers say, "Hi, welcome." Let's cut back to the team. Do you come back together, go your own way? What happens next?
I'd like to think, if it's okay, off panel, Bea has had several more glasses of wine, for sure. And
With Rik
I
scratching that
mean,
drive.
why not? That drive's there for a reason. But she is quite tipsy, and I don't know if like we're coming out of the sanctuary. We're still in the sanctuary, probably just coming out. But Bea's just like, where do you even get this wine? This is not. This is nice. As a burgeoning starting connoisseur of wines, this is good stuff. It's fab. It's tangy. It's supreme even.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where it comes from. It just sort of seems to always be around. It's I mean, I assume it's some kind of magical thing going on there with that whole place, but
Well, I've kind of maybe somewhat learned that, magical stuff, they're the kind of things you kind of need to know if you're not poking around. If you don't mind me saying, Shadow, there's a lot of unanswered stuff with the stuff you've got there. You're not worried about that, are you?
I mean, the way I look at it, everything comes with a price tag attached, and I'll.
That sounds really, really serious. Price tag. I mean, yeah, magic usually comes with some kind of price. But do you even know what you're going to pay up?
Exactly, no.
Well, if you need help with that matter. Mechanically, what I'm doing is I'm trying to provoke you to talk openly about your doom.
Fair, yeah. No, yeah. If you'd like to make that roll, that's I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Okay, so provoke is with superior. That's a flat roll for me. That's boxcars. So
Nice.
on a 10 plus both. So if you do it, we get a team to the pool and our team balloons. But and also if you don't do it, you have to mark a condition. So carrot and stick.
I know it's like I always feel that marking condition is more of a carrot than a stick, really. But that aside, I will no. I think like, and again, it's also clear that like Rik's maybe a little tipsy as well. He's also been indulging, whilst you've both been there. He says, "Well, I mean, it should hardly come as a surprise to give him, well, some of the stuff that's in there, but I think this place belonged to someone bad before. I don't know the exact details. I just have some dreams of them sometimes, and I think they may be coming back one day. I want to try and stop them if they do, of course, but
Well, we're gonna stop them, right? I mean, that's what we do. We're
That's certainly the idea.
yeah. I mean, I know someone who can help with dreams. Usually she told her she charges quite a lot, but I don't know. I can get her to do it for free. I think you might, or maybe. And I think like she's looking away, and she's trying to figure it out but her mind's also a bit tipsy, quite tipsy. But we'll figure it out, of course. We've got a team behind us.
Yeah, we can. I'm sure we can deal with him when he comes back, or maybe her or them or whoever. But I get a feeling it's a man.
Yeah, well, whoever they are will kick their ass. We can do that. Absolutely, we can do that. I think just to prove the point, she takes off her sunglasses uh, in a cool manner, but you can see that like she looks tired. Yeah, we'll kick their ass. It'll be fine.
Anyway, I guess we better get you home before your folks start worrying about you.
They don't. They don't. Hold on. She was about to say like they're not gonna worry, but then she reaches into her coat to see if she's had any messages.
Oh yeah, I should have warned you. Phone signal don't exactly work in there.
Oh dear.
It starts with, "Will you be home for dinner?" Hey, we're cooking your favorite. Look, I know you've got a life of your own, but I think a response is okay. Are you okay? Please answer me. Be like that, you selfish jerk. I hate you. I don't hate you. Please come home. Tell me you're okay. And it's gone over the last couple of hours.
Yeah, I think that one is from the mom who does the dream therapy. Her name is Miriam, and I think I see that as like, you don't happen to have a the drunkifying spell on you. You're muted, David.
No, I don't. I can't do that. I'm afraid. I think we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way.
Oh, I have to do it quickly, I guess. Should I call them, or should I just go?
I ain't exactly my area of expertise, I'm afraid.
Okay, all right, okay. We'll just go. We'll just if it's okay, I guess. Moral support and all that. They've been asking about friends. Anyway, I keep telling them, yeah, I do have friends. It's just imagine bringing Ash back home. Well, not that I wouldn't. He's cool. But yeah, you don't. I mean, you show me your place. I guess I'll show you mine.
Sure thing.
I'm going to cut the spotlight on that point and shift it back to the other two. What did you do post your time in the Black Cat, or do you remain there?
I'd like to maybe frame a scene where Ash is at home, going through some of Zin's paperwork, maybe waiting to speak to his dad.
Sure. What does home look like?
Home is actually a really normal suburban house. It's not actually that big. It's like a two-bedroomer. It's got a decent living room, nice lawn in a pretty good neighborhood though. And given this is sort of like based on the kind of New Orleans feel, it is probably like out in the outer suburbs. So actually, yeah, Ash probably has quite a commute. It looks on the surface very normal.
When we
Like
step
there's-
back in, does it feel weird when you step in, or does anything mystical happen, or is it really just a normal family home when you step inside?
It is a really normal family home.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the family put serious effort into making sure they fit in, and everything is normal. Any supernatural esoteric stuff they have is well hidden. And there's probably not a lot of it. It's probably mostly ritualistic objects and writings. All the serious stuff is kept in the sanctum, which Ash does not yet have access to.
So you sit down, pour yourself a glass of milk, whatever it may be. You've got the files out.
Yeah, probably rewarm dinner and start going through these ancient evil scrolls of necromancy. I like to try and assess the situation on them.
No problem.
Effectively desperately looking for something in one of like 2.5 languages that Ash speaks. And that's a 12.
I take solace that all these successes are at least making sure you're not getting any sort of like potential, right? But
Yeah. It's the first session. Let's succeed hard and then start feeling upwards.
hooray! It's like
Um,
yeah, cool. So
what here can I use to understand what Zin was going to do with the ghost balls? Those are the spirit batteries.
right. So there's a scroll which is in in medieval Latin. Your medieval Latin is
No, non-existent.
you pick up at least there's a sticky note on it that says then it says on the reanimation of vampires, spelled with a Y.
Oh shit! He was just trying to res Shadow's dad again, wasn't he? And what here can I use to understand obsidian? Or the context of obsidian?
Has at this point has Ash had any real dealings with the vampires in the city?
Apart from when the team came together, I would say no. And he probably also has a cultural predisposition that obsidian is quite important in Aztec culture. Like, as an aside, it's actually one of the aspects of his great uncle's namesake.
So what you see is a series of pictures of various different vampires, and they do have a distinct look, and they're sort of mapped under the Obsidian Court, the Emerald Court, and the Sapphire Court. And you can see under the Obsidian Court there is a picture that's been sort of been put on almost like print stick down, almost pinned to a board, and it is a picture of Rik, and then another picture of a dark-haired woman, and someone has scribbled in the word "related?" ?
Okay, those scrolls look like keepers.
And that's the point I think we see your grandfather, who's been in the other room watching the baseball, sort of stretch out of a chair and walk in towards you.
Grandfather. Oh, that is one of the things. Of all the things that look normal, grandfather is not one of them.
Mm-hmm. What does he look like?
He looks like a shriveled, burnt-up husk of a man. He's tiny now, and all sort of bent, and he probably actually, if he has to move himself, he probably actually cracks as he moves, and you can see the embers within him.
Well, I think in that case we hear him cry, "Ash, that you? Bring me a beer."
Ash will go get a beer.
Let's
Pop for him and pass it to him.
turn the page to a revenant at that point. Where did revenant go?
Well, they took Mr. Czin with him. The sanctuary is burned to ashes. So I guess only lead he has is the ghosts, but he doesn't care to talk to them because he's not that good at talking, really. He thinks. They think, at least. So I think what they will do is they will go back to that sewer where Mr. Czin was and try to find some remnants of ghosts, ghostly energy, ghostly voices, or they're actually looking for the violent sound. Maybe find someone dreaming of it or something, just wondering about a little.
So what did you say you're looking there? Sorry for. What are you trying to find with your dreams, Reverend?
I think I'm trying to find if somebody's in the vicinity is dreaming of the violent sound, or maybe a ghost is dreaming of the violent sound.
Okay. So I'm not going to make you roll for that. I think the answer is yes. Someone is dreaming of the violin sound, and you sort of see this or feel this dream, which is almost a click of, I say, a sharp tarot card being put to the table somewhere. Sort of hear it and feel it. There's that smell of incense, Catholic church incense burning and a pot boiling somewhere. And then you see a girl in a sort of a black hooded dress with a red scarf, and she's sort of in the sewers looking up at you.
Is she real?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Hello? Hi. Or maybe I'll just talk to her and then I will not forget to try and pierce the mask eventually, but I will try to talk to her first. So I say to her, do you hear that?
Not so much myself, but I think my mistress does. Look, I'm here to help. She sent me.
Okay. Who are you?
My name's Sherry. They call me the Meridian Witch.
Okay. That's nice. I'm they call me Revenant or Revenant.
I work with someone who thinks they might know who killed you, but they'd like an audience, if that's okay.
Yes, of course. If they know who killed me, I would actually, yes. Of course I would talk to them. And I still want to pierce the mask.
Sure.
Yeah, because my mundane is so great. But I've rolled a 7. Whee.
So you get to ask one.
Yeah, no XP, damn. What do I want? I think what I want to ask is, I don't want shift labels. I think what I What do you intend to do? So it's not the long-term plan or anything, but just what's her immediate intention?
Her intention is to take you to her mistress. And I think we'd see a cut scene of her mistress waiting, and it is the woman in the black lace mask.
Yes. I definitely want to meet her.
Are you coming? She says.
Yes. Yes, I am.
There is in that case, there is a wisp of light catching on the floor and smoke, and then where you were standing, you were gone. And we see in the panel after that in the sewer, there is it's either a man with a lot of cats on its shoulder, or it's a lot of cats with a man. You're not quite sure which, but it looks into the around, and the cats start sniffing and scratching at the ground where you have been. Elsewhere, we see a colonial Gothic mansion closer to the outskirts of the city, and a woman circled by others who look same, really, porcelain white skin, impossibly ageless, but she looks exactly like the picture that we saw on the diagram next to Rik with related ? And she has a doll in her hand which looks quite like Rik Soto. And you can see her looking over, and she says to the others, saying, do you think we can convince him to take the bishopric and take his place within the court? And something off scene says, unlikely. But if not, she says, we will have to have him dealt with. As you put the cold beer bottle into your grandfather's hand, he says, thanks. There's a knock at the door. Sorry, that is to Ash.
Oh, shit. I'll go check the door. Hello? Ash will actually put on a burn mask.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like a little, because it was only 6 months ago, he's still got a burn mask. You pop that on and go answer the door.
The young man that I have been foreshadowing is standing there. Instead of the bag this time, he has a sword on his hip. And he says, I'm looking for, and he holds out a picture of your grandfather. He says, I need their help in killing some vampires.
I think there's probably just going to be a moment of just what the fuck inside Ash's head. I would like to pierce the mask.
Okay.
So, 8 become... Yep, that 9. So I will ask you, what are you really planning? I'm just sort of trying to get a quick gist of whether this person seems honest about their intent to kill vampires with my granddad.
Almost nightly so. Totally on the level. 7 to 9, so it's only one question, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure he's around anymore, but you should probably speak to my granddad. Gramps, you got a guest. Could you make yourself presentable? In the hope that he magics himself up a skin.
At which point you can hear him shouting, going, I put my pants on for no man.
Oh, jeez. Hi, I'm Ash. And I look at the guy expectantly.
And I think at that point he steps through the door. We flip the page on the comic, and look, I'd like to draw us to conclusion a little bit earlier tonight. As I said, I'm quite knackered, so I want to just sort of wrap up this evening. That's okay, as we've started things going. And the back page of every issue of the comic needs to be a letters page, and I think tonight's letters page has got to be Bea Minerva's coffee hotspots of Crescent City.